Welcome to the Village of Wappingers Falls meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees today, Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
To
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
republic
which stands
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
justice.
and justice for all.
Roll call. Trustee Markajohn.
Here.
Trustee Catalano.
Here.
Trustee Nesnick.
Here,
Trustee Huber.
Present.
Trustee Panessa.
Here.
Trustee Lammers.
Here.
Village Attorney Wallace.
Here.
Tonight's meeting has been convened in accordance with the Governor's March 13, 2020 Executive Order 202.1 as extended, which suspends certain provisions of the Open Meetings Law to allow a municipal board to convene a meeting via video conferencing. In accordance with the executive order, the public has been provided with the ability to view and participate in tonight's meeting by computer, smartphone, or telephone, and to view the meeting on a usual cable television channel. The recordings of the meetings will be posted on the village website, and a written transcript of the meetings will be prepared and provided at a later date. There has been a roll call of the board members, and there is a quorum present for this meeting. I have also confirmed with the clerk that the meeting has been duly noticed. We have fulfilled our legal notice requirements by posting a copy of the notice on the meeting's village website and the village bulletin board. We have emailed a copy of the notice to the media, and we have confirmation that the legal notices for the public hearings have been properly published. Meeting, first on the agenda, approval to hire full-time labor for the highway department. I believe his name is Coran.
I'll make a motion.
Kevin? Second?
second,
Trustee Nesnick? Roll call vote?
I would like to say something. I believe that this process and all hiring of the village should be tabled due to no confirmation of whether or not we have a Village of Wappingers Falls employee handbook, that we were following the procedures for filling vacancies.
we have a motion, I say we vote.
Roll call vote. Trustee Markajohn?
Aye.
Trustee Catalano?
Aye.
Trustee Nesnick?
Aye,
Trustee Huber?
Aye.
Trustee Panessa?
Aye.
Trustee Lammers? Trustee Lammers?
Sorry, my thing is muted. Aye.
Carried. Approval to promote Labor Palikowski to working supervisor.
I'll make the motion.
Who was that?
Kevin.
Kevin? Second?
I'll
second,
Trustee Lammers?
Yes.
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Approval, next on the agenda, approval to hire part-time police officer Christopher Fury.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Carried. Next item on the agenda is an updated projects for discussion, Casey Engineering. John from KC. Sorelski.
You want me to share my screen for the, to go over or does everyone the agenda with them?
I can't hear you. I don't know about anyone else.
Sorry.
It's very low.
I'll share my screen, John.
Okay. Is that better? I'll talk louder. Where's my microphone? Maybe that's it.
Oh,
Is this better? Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you, but it's very slow.
Your mic you can move in front of your face.
I have it in front of my face. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Okay, so we'll start with the boathouse exterior improvement project. Woodland Manor has managed to get this done mostly in December. We're just waiting now at this point for the light poles and the railing, which are long lead items to order. So he's got them on order, and as soon as they're in, he'll install them. So the boathouse is essentially done. He did a great job. Franny Reefs Park, again, this is project is complete pending the final payment. And then of course we're going to be holding retainer. TAP also complete, just waiting for closeout paperwork for the DOT. So then moving on to other projects, contract 5, we're going to get into that in a little bit. So just essentially it's in for review. With the agencies, we're getting handfuls of comments here and there. We haven't heard from the DOT yet for the sewer work on 9. And here we are tonight. The public hearing is tonight. So we'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit after go through the rest of these. The filter plant project we are working on. We're going to be out there tomorrow surveying it to get a fresh survey of the site. We're pushing on this to get this 100% design done so that when we do get funding, we can push forward on this fairly quickly and get this built as soon as possible. The same with the windlass tank. We're moving forward on that, but we're only going to take the windlass tank to a 30% completion until the project in front of the planning board either completes and gets approval for conditional approval, or we come up with other funding. The grease trap project, we are essentially done writing that, the report for the EFC. We need just a little more information from the village for the finances, the financial end of it. So we've got some questions in, and as soon as we get that done, we'll get that in front of you. Bain Park master plan is being worked on. We're doing, we did the sewer, or I'm sorry, excuse me. We did the survey mapping. We had a public hearing. We're working on the layout, the concept layout for the overall park, and then specifically the area with the playground equipment, and preparing the seeker long form EAF. The EPA grant is again just kind of on hold, waiting for the EPA to give us final go ahead for the phase 2 environmental assessments on the oh great, there's my phone, on the down at the Bleachery site. So then tonight, I don't know if you want to take back over, John, for the legal notice.
First, I would like to ask the board if they have any comments on what you just covered.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, comments.
I'm good, John.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, it doesn't look like there are any comments. Right now, we're going to have a public hearing for informational purposes only. I have a motion to open up the public hearing for contract 5.
I'll make it.
Trustee Huber, can I have a second?
Second,
That was Trustee Nesnick.
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there's a legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees in the Village of Wapner Falls will conduct a public hearing on the 27th day of January 2021 at 5 p.m. via Zoom regarding Contract 5 with Casey Engineering. Zoom information will be posted on the Village Board meeting page of the Village website 3 days before the public hearing that took place. Please take further notice. Contract 5 pertains to the water connection improvements from the Village of Wapner Falls to the town of Wappinger on Losi Road. All right, John, if you want to
Yep, let me
talk
share
about
my
that.
screen. Okay. You need to give me permission to share my screen. Oh, there we go. Excellent. So let me just bring that in. Okay. Let me know when you can see this.
I see it.
Excellent. Everybody see it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we're doing here, this is the final stage of the that $24 million of work we did with EFC over the last probably 10 years, improving the water and the sewer system for the village. Now, this piece is the final. What we're doing is we're connecting the village water system to the town of Wappinger's water system to provide emergency water. If there was ever a problem with the water system in the village, we would be able to pull water from the Wappinger's Falls, or excuse me, the Wappinger's town of Wappinger's water system. I'm having a terrible time today. Part of this project, if you can see where I'm circling my mouse, there's a couple of vaults that have to go in because there's a substantial pressure differential. That's the one part of the project. Let me just show you this. The second piece here. This is just going up Losi Road. It'll take a minute to load. The yellow comes in nice. It doesn't like I got to zoom out. Bluebeam does not like to be zoomed in. All right, well, let's try this sheet. Nope. I broke my computer. All right, as part of this project, and as soon as this actually decides to load, we are including the part of contract 4 in front of Duchess Plaza and Aero Auto Glass that wasn't able to be completed last year because of the tanks that were discovered in front of Auto Aero Glass, buried underground storage tanks that have been leaking, which created an environmental cleanup problem. So we were unable to finish that contract.
I got something to add to that, John.
Sure.
I received the actual TP 584 and easement papers from Duchess Plaza. And that was one of the missing links on that particular line. So I'm going to give that to the village clerk. I'm going to ask the deputy mayor to sign those documents as soon as possible so we can get them filed with the county clerk. And I think that at that point in time, we can proceed legally through Duchess Plaza and the Aeroglass property as well, subject, of course, to the DOT guidelines and regs.
Excellent. Okay, I've got Dutch. I don't know if you can see it. Is Duchess Plaza up now in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, so this is just the piece that was not able to be completed last year. We added this in here because over onto the left here, there's the existing line that crosses Route 9. That's basically, it's a very small line and it's continually a problem and keeps plugging. So we're going to abandon that line and we're going to redirect it to the larger crossing further to the south.
Is that the one by Wendy's, John?
Yes, down by Wendy's.
Okay.
And M&T Bank. We're connecting in front of M&T Bank. So we'll be able to, so we'll get, hopefully solve the sewer problems in that stretch. I mean, just see, let me go back up to that section of road we couldn't see a minute ago. Yeah, so here's the tail end of Losi Road. Here, so we're just connecting into an end of the town's pipe on the right-hand side of the drawing, and it's just, you know, obviously just going across the road. So we're running down the road with a 12-inch line. Plenty of pressure on our end. When the town actually wants to connect, and because part of the intermunicipal agreement was that the town could take water from the village in the event that they have an emergency, but for them to do that, they need to put in a pump station, and that's for them to design, not for us to design. Are there any questions?
All looks good.
No. Very good.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Trustee Lammers. Just a question. The tanks that were below the autoglass, that whole situation that has been taken care of.
yes, that has been resolved. The tanks
That's what it was.
removed. There was an environmental cleanup, and it's basically essentially closed with the DEC now. So
Right.
we're able to now install the line.
Right.
I understand that they actually Aeroglass actually paved, so that'll
Yeah.
make
Oh.
poor timing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're actually the water line in front of Aero Autoglass was right along just behind the islands,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very minimal disturbance. But again, they've already paved, so.
And John, you were aware of the sewers, well, I guess the catch basins that are down at the old village dump, the whole holding station on Franklandale from Argenio. They bought when they were supposed to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna try and use that stuff as part of the contract when we actually start putting that out. We'll include the manholes that are already purchased for this work. Is what
Okay.
you're talking about?
Yep.
Exactly. That'll be to be supplied by the village. We'll make sure that's included in the contract.
Okay, great.
Thank you for reminding me of that. So
Get on time. Then it's paying for it twice.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
they make great planters.
Sure.
All right. If there any, I guess I can stop sharing my screen now after no more questions.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, then I have a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Wait a minute, John.
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple of things before we close the public hearing. First of all, has there been any other people here who would like to contribute to the public hearing that are on this call?
So would that mean we open it up or do we get the comments at the end?
No, we should get the comments now because if there are comments, they should be incorporated into this particular public hearing. I'm going to recommend that we actually close the public hearing at our regular meeting next in 2 weeks. We're still on target with the law, the executive order. I talked to Ken Roman today at the county. No other municipality has passed this yet, so we're not behind or anything. I would rather err on the side of caution, and I advise the board to keep the public hearing open for 2 more weeks for any other public comment. There was something that did come in that I would like Todd Bowen to actually share. That came from Charles Ferry that I thought was a very good suggested email, based on his experience. And I think that maybe the commissioner could comment on these contractors, like I think it was Lexipol and what was the other one? DM Ask or something.
All right. Can I have a motion to keep the meeting open until February? I'll revisit February 10th.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Someone was opposed? No. Okay. Next is a public hearing this is a continuation. It's an open hearing from January 13th. It's regarding the adoption and implementation plan for police reform. Greg, did you want to go through that again, or Craig, did you have any
I'm sorry.
more that you wanted to say about the hearing?
It didn't. I apologize. I'm going back and forth with emails with with a lot of people right now regarding some of the items we just discussed.
Did you mean to table this one?
Yeah, I did. And I apologize. I really did.
I was wondering where we were going here.
Yeah, I really apologize to everybody for that.
Okay, that's fine. We can go back. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on contract 5?
I'll make that motion.
And
Second.
Second.
Trustee Panessa. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay.
All right, I'm going to
So-
step out then if you're done with me. Okay. Good night,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you, John. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, this is a continuation of the open hearing from January 13th about the police reform, as I said.
The public hearing is still open and remains open for public comment. And I understand that there was some public comment that occurred between meetings. And I understand from Todd Bowen that there is an individual here today who would like to make some public comment. So, Commissioner, is there anything you'd like to add before we ask open the floor to the public comment?
I'll wait to hear what the comments are and then we'll go back to the plan.
Okay. I think it's Reverend Hunt, right, is on right now. Would you like to add anything before we ask the public to comment, Walter, about the document that's, up?
Yeah, well, if you want to just do that really quick, I revised a couple of things. Originally, when I followed the state guide, I was looking at things that we needed to add to the department to improve it, to reform it. And when I talked to Ken Rowan, he suggested that I put in things that we actually do now that meet what the guide was saying we should. Some of those things was on the use of force, on how we investigate it. We have an extensive procedure for investigating use of force. First, any officer who uses any type of force must submit a report, which is then reviewed by his sergeant. If the sergeant determines the force was necessary, then he submits that report to Lieutenant Patrol Commander, who then decides if the officer needs additional training on how to handle that situation, or if he didn't handle it properly, what type of discipline he might receive. And then the report's forwarded to me for further investigation and determined on disciplining. One of the major things that we have in place right now, and we were one of the first ones in Dutchess County since 2016, is have body-worn cameras. In fact, the Dutch Poughkeepsie Journal called the other day and wanted to know about our camera use and how it's going, and I talked to them about that. But like I said, officers are trained that when they receive a call, before they leave their patrol vehicle, they're to activate their camera. So as soon as they are going for a call for service, a vehicle and traffic stop, or any other type of interaction with requiring recording, it's recorded they're dealing with this party. The recordings are kept for 280 hours. They are kept indefinitely if they are for an arrest. A lot of our recordings are forwarded to the DA's office, especially when it involves an arrest. When it comes to misconduct, we also have an extensive policy on that. It's about 6 pages long. Sometime in the future, we'll probably post that on our website so people will be able to see how we conduct an investigation on police misconduct. One of the things we talked about in our committee was having a citizen advisory. They can continue a meaningful role in decision-making process to keep the community informed of developments and achievements made by the department. So if we had a procedure in our policies and procedures that was going to change, we would contact the Citizen Advisory Committee, advise them what we were doing, and see if they wanted to give some input on the change of our policy. I talked about retention, recruitment of police officers and Wappingers. Many of our officers are part-time and are always looking for full-time positions. So we're always hiring and training officers. This does not mean that we hire anyone out there. We have an extensive hiring and selective process. Both full-timers and part-timers go through the same process. I talked about last time at our hearing, we have de-escalation tactics, which is a big thing that most departments are doing now. We started that training last July, and it will be done on a yearly basis. One of our officers, Lieutenant Caparelli, is going for bias training in another month. And when he comes back, he'll also be training officers on bias training and procedural justice. There are two officers, Lieutenant Caparelli and Officer Farrell, both trained in that. And starting in March, they're going to be doing procedural justice to all of our officers, and that will also be done every year. One of our biggest things that we want to do is get the community engaged in our department. It's the goal of the department to form a trust with the community that encourages discussion about issues that need to be corrected and enables all of us to come to agreement on what would be best for the community. These are things that the committee, we talked about for 4 weeks that we met, and these are some of the things that we came up. Our biggest thing is, though, we want to change our policy and procedures to that company that does it for quite a few agencies in Dutchess County and other departments throughout New York State and across the country, called Lexipol. It'll enable the Wappingers Falls Police Department to possibly become an accredited department, which lowers a lot of our liability possibilities. And if an officer does something wrong, as long as we're following our policy procedures that have been looked at carefully by this company, then it lowers that possibility of being sued for that. Any questions on what I talked about here?
Commissioner, can you be, given the fact that I think we're going to be keeping the public hearing open to the next meeting, can you come equipped next meeting to discuss, the contract with Lexipol and what the costs, are going to be incurred as a result of, entering into a partnership with them?
Well, I've already talked with them. I know the costs right now. I don't know if we want to talk about that right now or do it in an executive session.
No, they can be talked about.
Okay.
Open, because we're not going to be taking any action today.
Okay, Lexipol, for the size of our department, the initial setup, well, let me tell you how it is what happens is when we enter into an agreement with them, I have to sit down with them once a week for 2 hours to go over all our policy and procedures. So it'll take like about 4 to 6 months to complete the process. Once the process is done, then our policy procedures will all be on our department website for people to view. For them to do that service would be $15,000. And then every year, it's a $5,000 maintenance agreement. But PERMA, our insurance carrier, would give a reduction for that yearly maintenance agreement.
I spoke with Ken Roman over at the county, and he had glowing things to say about Lexipol, and said that the cost, the benefits will far outweigh the costs in the long run as far as liability is concerned. But that's something that we can further discuss at the next meeting. So hopefully, after the public comment is over, we will be able to take action next meeting. I thought that there was a really good comment from Mr. Ferry about Power DMS. Is that something that you're familiar with and can discuss today?
No, I'm still looking into that. I don't have any information on that.
Okay.
As far as cost and stuff.
It's not a competitor of Lexipol. It would be a supplement, it looks like. So a supplement provider, I guess you can say. But I'd like to maybe, educate the board as to that particular provider as well. They team up with, okay, so who's that? Todd, are you controlling this? I think it looks like that there's something or a letter in here. Okay, we should look into that. So,
Yeah, no, as I said, I'm going to look into it probably this week and hopefully have some information for our next meeting on it.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Ferry, for the comment. That was pretty helpful, actually.
No, it was.
Anybody else have any questions for the commissioner before we hand the mic over to Reverend Hunt? Brian? Trustee Lammers?
Yes. No, I have no questions at this point.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, can we, so I see Reverend Hunt, you're on the phone on the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your comment. So, without further ado, please, tell us about what you think the board would be, educated about this entire process. And, thank you for your help and your input.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. I do want to say, and I think that I really would like you to take it into consideration. One of the things that I had said was, I don't feel that we advertise the good that we're doing. And it's not a matter of being bragging, but there's a way to get the information out. Wappinger Falls is doing a fabulous job. And I'm honored to be in the community, and I don't hear complaints about how well we're doing. I hear compliments. The thing that that I was thinking about, we're not using, I feel, all of our resources. And I had said before that, as I had talked to the commissioner about, we need to see clergy involved. And you say, why? Well, first of all, in your mainline churches, it requires the pastor to have 4 years of college, 3 years of seminary, clinical pastoral education, and or a doctorate. We have priests, we have women ministers that are highly trained. And I think that if we would have a fix in our department where the department says, okay, I can count on Mother Magdalene over at the Zion Episcopal Church. I've got a woman here and she needs some help, and it's beyond, we need somebody to talk to her. You can call on her. You don't look to call on people when there's a problem. You have to have people lined up that you can call on. And you line them up before the problem gets into play. And if need, you train them. The other thing is this: police officers. I remember when we had that terrible incident, a series of incidents where police officers were being dumped on and being disrespected because of certain things were happening in different places. I went to the Wappingers Police Department and they wanted to know, what did I want? I said, I want to have prayer with the officers. And I had prayer with the officers. I went to the state police barracks, and at the state police barracks, they said, what do you want? I said, I want to have prayer. And it was really interesting over at the state police barracks because one trooper came out, and then as I started praying, evidently they were listening on the inside. The next thing I know, there were several troopers there, and we were all praying together for their well-being. We need to know that we have people on our team, and everybody on the team doesn't have to wear a uniform. And I just think that, just like I had said to the commissioner, I said, calling in a pastor, oh, it's going to be an enormous cost. Give them $1 a year. Make them a part of the team and let the team know that they are a part of a team. Because pastors are on salary already, and it's just in addition to their community service. They're already in the community, but it's a matter of knowing that, okay, this is going to fit Pastor so-and-so. Call that person in. And sometimes somebody's hitting the wall. And you need to have somebody to talk to them and somebody they can feel that's going to listen to them and keep it quiet. And it's just a matter of taking care of the family. That's really what I wanted to say. Thank you for listening to me. And I assure you, if you call on the different pastors, it's not going to break the budget. God bless you all, and I thank you for what you do. You guys are just great. We have a fabulous community, and your service to the community makes it work. And so I'm going to get ready for Bible study. Everyone be healthy.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comment from the public?
That's interesting.
You have anybody raising their hand? Rich, you have anybody? All right. Well,
There's nobody trying to, that I can see.
all right. Like I said, I was going to recommend that we adjourn the public hearing one last time to our next available meeting, which is on
February 10th.
February 10th. I think on February 10th that we will have enough, we will be in a position to ratify the police reform document and send to Albany. So that's what I expect will happen. Do I hear a motion to this effect?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I'll put that on the agenda for February 10th. That hearing is still open.
Did you get the motion? And
Yep.
It passed.
Yep.
Commissioner Burke, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Walter.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're looking for approval for Corey Yusevich to carry on with some work that he's been doing with New York State DOT. Corey?
Yeah, hello. As John said, when we've done work with the DOT and mainly for TAP the past 2 years, we have to set our BBWeB goals, which is our minority and women-owned businesses goals. And I take this and I update this program that the DOT has called EBO, which is Equitable Business Opportunity Solutions. And I've been doing this since I started here 2 years ago, but for some reason, sorry, I'm getting some weird feedback. But this week, the account sort of got corrupted and I had to contact DOT and they basically told me they can fix it, but only the primary holder of the account for the village can fix it. And it's still Scott Williams in the DOT's contact list. So I informed them he's left and I've taken over his responsibilities. And so they said, all right, so we'll put you on as the primary holder of the account. We just need you to fill out this small form and get a resolution passed. So I basically just need you guys to vote on allowing me to continue being the primary account holder for our EBO account. And that's basically it.
I am familiar with this process. I worked with Scott Williams on it. It's strictly administrative, doesn't affect anything. It's just that we want to get into their system, we can.
Yeah, unfortunately, but also fortunately, basically, a lot of what I do was picking up projects that Scott was doing or programs that Scott had, and a lot of it is still in his name. And just over time, the past 2 years, this has happened a lot. This is really the only one I think I've needed to actually have a resolution vote on. But slowly they'll say, Scott's no longer the primary person. You need to basically re-register. And for this particular program, this is what's needed.
So can we have a motion to put Corey Yusevich on and take Scott Williams off?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next on the agenda is a discussion. New York State DOT would like to purchase a portion of the village-owned property for the sum of $2,500. I sent a memo out to everyone and a map. They are going to replace the Route 9 bridge soon. And while they were checking it out, they found that there's a sliver of property on the east side of Route 9 just before the bridge traveling north. So that's over there by the wood company that sells wood. It's a very small piece. And Attorney Wallace, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you, John. So I was approached in July by the State Department of Transportation right-of-way coordinator for this particular area. Her name is Kristen Cotton. And basically, the state is actually not going to be, when the state wants a piece of property for a public use and purpose, they institute what is called a condemnation proceeding. It's like eminent domain for the public good. But in this and in this case, they have done so for the purpose of maintaining, repairing, and replacing that bridge span. There is a small section that does belong to the village. We were able to, ascertain that the village actually does own it, although it's on the town side of the bridge. It just didn't make much sense to me, but apparently we own it. However, the state's not looking to acquire it. All they're looking to do is temporary. They want a temporary easement for the purpose of parking their construction equipment there while the work gets done. So, the law says that they have to compensate us for, the fair market value of whatever the taking is going to be. And they've valued it, and they've given us an advanced offer of $2,500. Now, I'm not going to ask you to vote on that today because, quite frankly, you need to have a resolution in front of you to do so, and it's not prepared yet. But I'm probably going to recommend that you take the state offer because the cost of doing appraisals to value a temporary easement are going to far outweigh whatever compensation we would get in the end from the state, even if we contested the value of the temporary easement. So it may not be worth it. It's not something we can negotiate. The only way, if you don't agree with the valuation, we would have to reject it, and then we would have to sue the state for just compensation under the eminent domain procedures law. So I would like to ask the board to table this particular matter until our regular meeting in February for the purpose of accepting or rejecting the state's offer of compensation.
What
Okay.
time period are they looking to say rent it for? How long of a time period?
That's a good question, and the answer is I couldn't even tell you because the state DOT schedule will control, and I have no idea if they plan on doing it in the summer. I would think the summer, but I do have a I think that's something I'm going to ask Kristen Cotton, the state right-of-way coordinator. I'll ask her when she believes the state will be doing the work.
But it's specifically just for the time during construction.
Exactly. And the title will never change hands. It will never go from the village to the state, because the state only wants to take the minimum amount they need in order to do the public purpose, which in this case is to repair the bridge. So, we're still going to retain ownership at the end of the day. It was basically a temporary easement is basically a rental. It's a short-term rental of the property by the state. So I will get her on, and I'll invite her to the meeting, and she can answer any questions that you might have at the next meeting. Okay. I recommend that you table this and adjourn this matter for possible action on the next one. On the next.
So you need a motion to table it till the 10th?
Yep.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
That was seconded by trustee Lammers.
Kristen Catalano.
Okay, that concludes the printed items for discussion on the agenda. If you have something else you would like to discuss.
John, could I address the board with regards to Bain Park, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
We got notification from Compan, who is the playground company that we purchased the equipment from for Bain Park, that the representative that we've been dealing with, Jeff Stowe, passed away suddenly last Tuesday. And so Corey and Yusevich and myself were on a Zoom meeting with the team from Compan today to discuss with them going forward how we would handle what we still had contractually with Compan in terms of finishing the site plan and some other loose ends that needed to be tied up. It was a very good meeting. They are fully on board with us to continue in the good faith that Jeff was working with us and everything. And I have to tell you, we were truly heartbroken to hear about Jeff's passing, because he was so great working with the village and gave us the same type of attention and consideration, and really worked hard with us that he would give. We weren't getting a large scale project, but you would have thought we were, because he was just that outstanding in terms of working with us. So we are waiting right now. I did reach out to Nancy Clark at KC Engineering. I emailed her today to tell her that Jeff had passed. They do need to get together to complete that site plan and what needs to be done for the prep, because we'll need to go out to bid for some of the site work on the Bain project. So I just wanted to bring the board up to speed on what was going on with that, and ask if, I think it would be a nice gesture on Village's part to send a card of condolence to Jeff's family, because and to Compan as well, because we really did love working with him. He was great to us, and I think that would be a nice way for us to acknowledge our appreciation of what he did on our behalf.
Okay, did you want to prepare a card, or do you want me to do
I'll
it?
take care of that. I just want to make sure that the board is comfortable with my sending it on behalf of them to the family.
Okay, I think that's great.
Yes, definitely.
And then another thing I'd like to bring up is, I think I emailed Trustee or Deputy Mayor Huber and Trustee Niznik a copy of a proposal from McGrath Realtors to get an appraisal on the Mary Ross Park property. to start the process of selling that, getting a price to sell that land to the Vinyl Room and Wagon Wheel Pizza, and that section of land that they were using for outdoor seating. I did follow the proper procedure in getting that bid. There were 2 others that I looked into, and as I spoke with Jess, I will document that, you know, they were not able to complete the job that we were looking for. The price comes in so that underneath, and we've also done professional services with them before, so it doesn't really require us to do any more than make contact on the phone with a couple of other realtors for the service. So, and then it would need a resolution to move forward to have our attorney make some, we have to petition the state for approval to sell the land. So that would be the next step that we have to do. So I'm hoping that we could have that ready for the next meeting, perhaps in February.
Yeah.
So you're working with a different attorney, right? On that?
I don't know if we were working with a different attorney. I'm not sure that that's going to be required, because I think what we would be asking, I mean, Craig could weigh in on this. I think what we're asking him to do is not a conflict of interest. He's just preparing the paperwork to go to the state to approve the sale of the property.
Are you talking about Rich Olson, right? On the Yeah, so he's the conflict counsel who's been working on this project on behalf of the village, and I'll reach out to Rich Olson to discuss the parkland alienation and steps he's taking, because that actually has to go to a public referendum for a vote. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight. There's a long process that goes into play. Up in Albany, we got to get approval from the state.
Right. But Ken, do I need a resolution to go ahead with having the appraisal done?
Let me ask Rich if it's even appraisal ready at this point in time, because again, that is a step like later on. Once we get approval, to find out the value. So I'll reach out to Rich Olson and I'll report back to you and to the village trustees.
Okay, my understanding was we needed to get the appraisal before we could go and ask for the approval for the sale.
Well, again, yeah, I mean, I'll reach out to him because a resolution should have been prepared if it's even at that step yet, which I don't believe it is. So I'm gonna reach out to him.
Okay.
I think we're a little bit ahead of ourselves on this one.
Okay.
Thank you. For your input, Cindy. I appreciate it.
All right, is that it, Cindy?
That's it. Thank you, John.
Okay. Anyone else with anything?
Yes, this is Trustee Lammers. I just wanted to make mention to everyone in the public and, you know, us trustees and stuff. If there's business that needs to be conducted at town hall, we're really concerned about social distancing, making sure everyone wears a mask. If you have any business to discuss where you have to actually be upstairs, try to get it, just get it done as quickly as possible, maintain your distance, and then leave. We don't want to, we want to just keep everybody safe. So it had come up in discussion. So I just thought I would just throw that out there and just ask the public to be mindful of that.
Well, I would like to have a formal board position on that. I think it's great. I think it's being abused to some extent. And I'd just like to have some teeth to be able to say, listen, it's not my law. The village board wants everyone to pay particular attention to the safety guidelines. I mean, I can say that. If you're telling me that tonight, I'll use that. If you all agree that I can enforce that, I'll do my best to do it. I would even go one step further, that if somebody, I would like to know what their business is, first of all. Why are you here and who do you have to see? If they definitely have to see someone, that they do it downstairs in the courtroom where they're not interfering with the other workers in the workplace. That's what I would like to see. I would like to put that into place.
I don't think that that's unreasonable, and I think that I would go along. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Well, I like that, and I can use that we talked about that tonight. If all the trustees are in agreement with that.
So John,
I just got a message that Trustee Panessa had to leave the meeting or something else, so she's not here with that. But if the remaining four of you agree, or
John, I just want to know, I don't know if we have to go into executive session to talk about this, but at one point there used to be a manager upstairs, and we briefly talked about that, and that was you, and I'd like to see us go back to that. So I think from what I understand, it's just, the board agreeing to do that, to give you that position. So if you could talk a little bit about that, and I'd love to see that happen.
if we want to go into executive session tonight to talk about that, I think that's good. That's a personnel issue, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
So then if we can do that, that would be good.
All right, is there any other further discussion before you go into executive? Okay, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
That was seconded by Trustee Lammers.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it's for the purpose of discussing personnel. Okay,